Yeah. Yes. Song is so good. If you guys don't know, this is the song we play on our outro, but I want to play it as the intro. Welcome to the first ever LoPriore podcast Q&A. We will be doing this every Monday. Michael's not with me on the first one because, you know, we got to talk about some stuff. Yeah. Q&A time, Patreon. Got a bunch of questions here. I hope I get to all of them, which I will. All right. Yes. So, everyone, welcome to the first ever LoPriore podcast Patreon Q&A. I just wanted to let that song ride a little bit because it is an absolute slap daddy. You guys know this one. Broke my heart. You guys know that one. This one is, so what we use is, it's called a Rodecaster Pro. So it has, like, you can load all these sounds into it. I think this is with Permish, right? This is with Permish. We're going crazy right now. So that's with Permish. So it has like a bunch of little buttons that you load up, like these little sounds. So they all come up. So this is what we use. A lot of people ask what equipment we use. So that'll be the first question. This is called a Rodecaster Pro. It has 4 mic inserts, and then you could load up a bunch of sounds. You could play your shit through Bluetooth, your phone, or your MacBook, or whatever you have that's Bluetoothy. But yeah, this is what we use. This is what we've been able to record on, so it's actually pretty awesome. But listen, enough about me. More about y'all. All right, let's get into these questions. All right. Oh, and for those looking for the full episodes will be coming out every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Monday, we're going to do a Q&A, whether it's me or just Michael or me and Michael, you know, obviously, together. There'll always be some kind of Q&A on Monday for the patrons to get their questions answered. Until the Patreon just gets out of control. We have to change the tiers. But let's get started, all right? Shall we? Ben Armstrong, if you could have dinner with any person that ever existed, who would it be and why? I feel like I've answered this question, and every time I answer it, it's a different answer. But, like I've said, like the Frank Sinatras and like the whatever, but I think it's actually James Gandolfini. I would love to sit down and eat dinner with Tony Soprano and just talk about like filming that show and then talk about acting and actually not playing Tony Soprano. I would love to talk to him about. Collin Anderson wants to know, what's the weirdest thing Mikey has ever done in the bedroom? Mikey's not here, but I could tell you one thing he's done in the bedroom while I was with him. So not sexually. Just living together. But Michael one time came into our room that we shared until we were like 27 years old. And he was super faded, super drunk. And he came in and he took his penis out and he pissed right in the corner of our bedroom. And I tried to tell him to stop, but he wouldn't stop. So instead of, you know, cleaning it up, he peed, left it there, and then the next morning I had to tell him that he pissed all over the place. And he didn't believe me, but there's that. This question is from Zach Lara. It's that time of year again. Will you be doing slam poetry part 3? Listen, I'm open to a slam poetry part 3, you know, but, you know, I was away in Florida for a while, and obviously, you know, Joe and Frankie are doing the Basement Yard, doing a great job with that. But a lot of people, we don't see a lot of people these days. I've seen, the only person I've really seen is like my brother. So, you know, when the world returns back to normal, I'm sure, you know, I'm open to it. I'd be down. Albert Abreu. Did I say that right? I think I did. What's the worst ass whooping you've ever got from Papa LoPriore, and what did you do to get said ass whooping? Michael and I, one time, we were watching the Knicks in the playoffs, and I think it was the game when Larry Johnson, a player for the Knicks, hit a 4-point play, and we were like bugging out about that, and I cursed, but my dad was so excited at the moment that he like kind of let it slide. Like he would make these wings every like Knicks playoff game. So we would have these wings and they would win. So we were like, yo, you got to keep making these fucking wings, you know? So I cursed and he let it slide. I think he was just like, he's excited, you know? Then it got into like the West Coast game, like the Spurs game. And then I cursed again. And he fucking lost his mind. When I tell you that this man lost his mind, like he was giving Michael the beats. We talk about this in Spanish and Italian families. When one kid gets hit, the entire family gets hit, except for like, you know, my mom. My mom usually hit everybody. But yeah, so he was giving Mike the beats, and I was like hiding under a sink in our kitchen, and I stayed in there, and he couldn't find me. I actually just succumbed to the beating. I came out, and he hit me with a broom. Yeah. Hey, Dad. Silly Billy with an OK Willie. Is that a rap name? That's a good one. I like that. It's a little Silly Billy with an OK Willie. Silly Billy with an OK Willie. Where do you see the potty the next 2 years? Probably just top of the charts. Just crushing it. Just making it our bitch. You know? No, but in a couple of years, you know, we want to grow this thing into where, like, you know, we're doing live shows and, you know, making money. And, you know, we just want to grow the show and just continue to be who we are. I think that's why people fuck with us a lot on the internet, because we just kind of stay true to ourselves, you know. So, like, you know, we want to grow the audience. We want it to get big. We want it to be as big as possible. So in 2 years, you know, the show's doing great right now. We've got a lot of great shit. Tomorrow's episode is going to be hilarious. I want to tell you what the song is called, but I can't. We want the songs to be an element of surprise, so we can't just like go out and tell people like what the name of the songs are going to be. Like I've told like 2 people, and they're like in my family, so it's very, very exclusive. But you know, whether we would love to do live shows where we obviously do the show, but like also we perform like a bunch of the songs that we do on the show, which is like ideal. What our show would be, it would be like half music, half you know, the show, and then like fan participation, shit like that. But yeah, we just want to grow this bitch as big as possible and just have fun while we're doing it. Thank you, Silly Billy with an OK Willie. Here we go. Demetrius K. This might be an OTC question, which is my other show, Off the Cuff, which is a mental health podcast. What do you do when you're in a week-long depressive slump and have tried your normal remedies to no avail? That's a good question. Recently, I drank some coffee that actually made me have like one of the worst panic attacks I've had in a while. But when I'm in depressive slumps, I have to try and find things to keep my mind occupied so like I don't focus on it, you know? Like if I have something that I could do, whether it be like a show or, you know, hang out with somebody or talk to somebody, even watching certain things, like sometimes when I'm in like a depressive state, like I can't watch certain things because they'll be like triggering for me kind of. So I try to like, you know, do things that I know that are going to be fun. Like watch some of my favorite shows. Like I watch South Park. I watch, I don't even watch The Sopranos when I'm depressed because like the whole show is about being depressed and shit. So like I try to just like chill, but I just try to keep my mind on different things other than on itself, if that makes any sense. That's a good question. Also, you guys can go check out my mental health podcast, Off the Cuff, on YouTube and Spotify, Apple Podcast. Tyler Williams, what's holding you back from doing stand-up comedy? I think I'm actually ready now. Once the world comes back together, I think this show's given me a lot of confidence. You know, I think Michael also would say that too. And you know, this is some of these questions I will ask Michael tomorrow and see what he thinks. But yeah, I think in the coming years that's going to be something that we'll both end up doing. It's about time. Estela Escobar. I hope I said that right. Sorry if I didn't. What's your favorite childhood memory of Michael? Probably just like any time Michael's come to my defense physically and has like hurt someone for me. Those are like some of my favorite memories, when he would inflict pain upon others and destroy them. But if I had to pick one, I remember a kid was picking on me one time, and I think Michael saw it, but like Michael wanted to see like how far I could get by myself, like before it got bad. And I think I started to cry, and by think I know I started to cry. Whatever, I cried, and Mike saw that I was crying, and it built up a rage in him so badly that he beat up this kid. And that's probably one of my favorite childhood memories of Michael. Dan DeLucia. What music always puts you in a happy vibe? I'm trying to think of some songs, like not just like the music, like the music genre that always puts me in a happy mood is like, I don't know, like really white music, like the Lumineers. For some reason, they make me happy. I don't know why. Which makes me feel like I'm just like a blonde-haired little white boy just living life, like walking through a cornfield, and like I have an oversized hat on. Like I have like a straw in my mouth, and like I'm like, you know, just getting interested in girls. That's where it puts me. So like stuff like that. Really white music makes me happy because, like, you know, they got nothing to worry about. They're white. Carmen Julia Fisher. What's the hardest part of your social media jobs? Does the constant public interest in your lives ever get tiring? Yeah, it does. It does. And, you know, especially like when like you go through certain stuff, like, you know, you always have people that make like stupid ass comments and shit. Like I know like I'm just going to be dealing with dumb comments and like, I don't want to say haters, but like haters, I guess. Lack of a better word. Haters. Shout out to all my haters. Death to all my haters. I hope you live a happy life. But, you know, it's something that I learned to, like, kind of deal with. Like, sometimes people go a little too far. Like, I'll DM people and be like, yo, bro, like, you good? Like, you okay? Like, I'd just be like, yo, just, like, did someone hurt you? Like, what's going on? Why are you so sad? But, yes, having a social media job is definitely taxing on the old self-esteem at times. Keelan Moore wants to know, what's the most disgusting or gross thing you've ever seen Michael do? What's the grossest thing? Probably pee, but I've also seen Michael pull his penis out at his birthday party. I don't know if that's gross, but like that was one of the most shocking things. It was his birthday party, and he just felt like taking his dick out, and he took his penis out of his pants, and was just walking around this entire bar with his penis hanging out of his pants. That's my brother. Daniel Shipway, what, if anything, has the COVID pandemic taught you about yourselves and society? What it's taught me about society is that people are fucking crazy. Like, you know, you hear these stories about, like, I don't know if it's because I'm older now, but, like, you hear these stories about, like, people going into Whole Foods and, like, losing their minds and over, like, a mask and stuff, and, like our right, like, all this, like, COVID, like, became a thing about our rights, which is weird. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, you're, like, here's what I always said. It's like people are just like, no, like, this is unconstitutional. Like, you're putting your limits on my body and, like, making me wear a mask. But then, like, those are the same people that, like, are against, like, birth control, you know? It's like they want to tell other people to do with their bodies, but then when someone tells them what to do with their body, they get upset about it. I don't know. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, what are going to be the lasting effects of wearing a mask all the time? So like it's a weird dynamic, and people are very on edge still. But honestly, I was wearing my mask the other day, and I was like, yeah, I don't really fucking care anymore. It's honestly just become a normal thing, which is scary. But something that it's taught me is just to be a little more patient. You know, I'm an easily antagonized person. I've just been trying to learn to chill out a little bit. Not get too upset, but like still have my edge to me, like my fiery edge. Like I'll still fucking slap somebody. But it's really tested my patience, like people, like just random people in like daily encounters where I would always be like happy, like, hey, what's going on? Like I'm like more callous and cold, you know? I'm like kind of a dick now. To like people in the street, like not in like, you know, my life, you know what I'm saying? But I'll pull out if I have to. Bryan DeZeeuw, why are you both so sexy? No homo, but I can appreciate two sexy men like yourselves. Hey, Bryan, that's not a question, but, you know, all homo, I'll kiss you. So there's that. You know, just a guy hitting on two other stranger guys. I want to make a show instead of Stranger Things called Stranger Guys, where like people are like really old, but they, you know, but like they never do anything with the Upside Down. They just kind of live around that area. You know, like I never want to fight like the monster or some shit, the Demigorgon, but like I want to like hang out in that town, have it be a spinoff Stranger Guys. We're both like in our 30s and kind of losers, but like we just hear like these stories. And like one day, like maybe like 11's in the same store as me, and I'm just like, isn't that the girl that lifted like my dad's car? But what was I talking about? Jessica Bailey, when Rona decides to chill the FL, would you guys ever do a live podcast? 100%. I would love to do a live podcast all over New York City. So does Michael. Great question here by Brandon Morris. Danny, whatever happened to the modeling agency that picked you up? They drop you after the Basement Yard ep came out. All right, so here's what happened with that entire thing, okay? So I went in as a joke, but like a serious joke. I was like, listen, I want to be a plus-size model, but like I don't. Like, you know, like I don't think I'm a model. And I ended up signing with an agency, but I never answered like for them to like get me gigs. They tried to get me a couple of gigs. They did get me a couple of gigs, but like I never went. I declined them, so I got dropped. So my modeling career is on a downward spiral, down slide. I almost said down skid. I think that's a thing, right? Up skid, down skid. Nanoosh Abedini. I'm sorry if I say any of these names wrong, but shout out to Nanoosh. What was your dream job as a kid? I actually wanted to be, I don't even want to say this because it's so far off, but I actually wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals. But nobody tells you when you're a kid how fucking hard it is to be a veterinarian. They say like, oh, this is great, go be a veterinarian. They don't tell you anything about debt. They don't tell you anything about how hard anatomy is. And now I got, not only do I have to learn the anatomy, I got to learn the anatomy of several different animals. Several? You know, it's like, is there a cat specialist or dog specialist? You know? Like how people like specialize in different parts of the body. Is there someone that specializes in a dog's asshole? Or their wiener and nuts? Their vagina? Think about that. Do vets, is there an OBGY vet? If not, let's get on it. Let's start our own agency. Nudes to my dad. Hey. Get me canceled. If y'all could perfect one skill in your life, which skill would you pick? I would pick probably like perfect, like I'm the best, probably like an instrument. I would be the greatest like guitar player, piano player in the world. Or maybe I would just be like the best like harmonica player in the world. So like I would show up at these gigs and nobody would know me. Like I wouldn't be that famous, but I would get all these gigs and be like so respected by like John Mayer and shit. It should be tough. She's like, Danielle LoPriore, oh my God, that guy fucking shreds that man. Guy shreds man. Brianna wants to go, what are you guys most proud of? I'm most proud of Michael. He's come a long way in his life, and he would say me. Austin Olavson, top 5 wrestling themes. All right, Bret Hart. Sexy Boy, Shawn Michaels, The Real American, Hulk Hogan. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? The one after he left the Nation of Domination, and Shinsuke Nakamura's theme song. Good question. Love getting wrestling questions. Cameron Farrell, would you consider collaborating with Foamer Simpson and talking sneakers, social media influence, etc. on a future episode? Love the work that y'all do. Foamer is actually a buddy of mine. We are friends. We talk about sneakers a lot, but we also just like talk about life. He hit me up recently. He's a big fan of the show, and I'm a big fan of him from back in the day. Before I knew who he was before he knew who I was. But yeah, him, Buckets, I love both of them to death. So yeah, absolutely. I would love to work with those guys. We were trying to link up when I was in Florida, but like he was in like Tampa or some shit, and I was in Laude. So like it's like kind of like out of the way. Nunzero Acrobat. What was the best field trip you guys had? My best field trip was actually a funny one. I went to a petting zoo. I don't know if I ever told the story on the basement yard, but I might have. I went to a zoo. It wasn't the Bronx Zoo. It might have been the Central Park Zoo, and there was like a peacock outside of like the actual fucking what is it? I almost said entrapment. Exhibit. There we go. He was outside the city limits. Let's just say that. He was about to cross state lines. He was on the run. So I was like, oh man, like he's out, but I could see he was trying to get back to like his peacock bros. So I was like, oh, like, you know, they don't keep like them behind glass and shit. They're birds, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to really go anywhere. It was behind like a little fence. So I grabbed the fence and it went pop, 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 and it electrocuted the fucking shit out of me. I got shocked by an electric fence trying to get this peacock back to his homies. And everyone in my grade laughed at me. And also my teacher also laughed at me too. Mr. Smith. Shout out Mr. Smith. Smitty, as we called him. One time I told Smitty, fuck you in class. I told the teacher, fuck you once. And he fucking lost it. Lost his shit. Went crazy. I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I said, fudge you. But I was like, oh, man, fuck you. And he's like, what'd you say to me? One time I threw a yogurt off the wall. So we had like this little ramp that we'd walk down. And I just fucking Randy Johnson, fucking Clayton Kershaw, this thing off the fucking wall. And he came out and was like, who threw it? I was like, yo, I don't want to be a snitch, but like they just ran that way and I don't want to tell. And he knew it was me, but he let me slide. So Mr. Smith, it was me. I threw that yogurt. Do something. Mr. Smith's the man. Love that guy to death. One of the best teachers I ever had. If not the best. Here we go. If you're considering, Jessica Clark wants to know, if you were considering making a playlist of all the intros, can you please do a 200K freestyle remix as a bonus track? I don't know if I could remake that because that's tough, but I might just throw it in there at the end just for the homies so you guys can have that and enjoy that and love that. But, yeah, I could throw that in there for you. Give me $20. Jade Hubel. If I had to choose a different career path than what you're on, what would it be? I started as a farmer, then a paramedic, and now an agri-science major. That's like an agricultural scientist. I don't even know what you guys do. Do you guys like put trees on the top of buildings and like have like solar panels. That's you guys, right? If I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, realistically, I'd probably be like a gym teacher or something. You know, I people don't know about me. I used to work with kids a lot. They might actually know that, but like I used to work with kids a lot, and like I always found that work kind of rewarding. You know what I mean? Kids like think you're a hero and shit for like 5 days, and like you get to be like a hero kind of sometimes. It's like very fulfilling work. You know what I mean? You help somebody. You know, you teach them something. They have fun. Also, I would be a very cool gym teacher. I think I'd be able to do it. But once you start singing about tits on the internet, it's going to be hard to get a fucking school job. Maybe like 20 years from now, like I'll be able to get a gig. Just like get my degree for shits and gigs and then get a job, get a gig for shits and gigs. Why not? Andrew Hooper. This, you know what? I'm going to save this for the last one. Dame 808 wants to know what my top 5 Kanye West songs are. One of them is not very well known. It's actually called Flight School, featuring T-Pain. I'm going to take you to flight school. I love that song. That's in my top 5. When he talks about skydiving with Louis Vuitton feathers on. Now that's some fly shit. I love Kanye. Shout out Kanye. Hope you get the house. We're going to talk about that, I think, tomorrow. So I don't want to like go too far into it, but I hope he gets the house. Probably won't, though. So Flight School. Can't Tell Me Nothing's number 1, I think. Flight School, Can't Tell Me Nothing. This guy's had so many hits. Heartless is in there. Heartless and Say You Will, I'm gonna just make them one song. All the Lights. That album's so good, dude. I'm just gonna say 5 just for the hell of it. But so Flight School, Can't Tell Me Nothing, Heartless, Say You Will are just lumped in the one because I love those songs. 4, All the Lights, and then 5. What could be 5? I like Big Brother a lot. It's a great track. But I'm going to have to say for now, Jesus Walks. Diamonds is up there too, especially the remix with Jay-Z. But yeah, I'll say that. All right, so this is the last question of the first ever Patreon Q&A where the patrons ask the questions. You know, if you go to patreon.com/LoPriore podcast, you can get your questions in, and they will be answered every week. Any tier can ask. So there's like a 5, a 10, a 25, and a 50. Anybody can ask questions. So, okay, let's do one more. Andrew Hooper would say, I'm going to ask this question to Michael tomorrow. Usually the last question that we'll answer on here, we'll probably ask on the show because I'm very interested in what he would say. Would you rather give a man the first 99% of a blowjob or the last 1%? Now, is there money involved? If there's not money involved, I'll do the 99%. Because I want to see what I'm working with a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? I want to see how good I want to see what I bring to the table orally. Yeah, so but yeah, listen, I don't think it's gay to think, I wonder if I'd be good at sucking a D. Clip that. I think I would do okay. But that last 1%'s a big 1%. You know what I mean? That's like being a billionaire in America. You know, that 1% is huge. If you're in that 1%, you're elite. Can't do it. Don't want to do it. But if there's money involved, I'll go full 100 for sure. This depends on the amount. Why not? You only live once. I'd rather do it rich. And I get to kill two birds with one stone, see if I'm good enough to get to 100% and then get all the money. You know? Start an OnlyFans after that. But listen, you guys are so hot. Everything about you guys is hot. Thank you guys for participating in the first ever Patreon Q&A. Go ahead over to patreon.com/LoPriore podcast and get your questions in. You know, you can ask as many questions as you want. We'll try and answer all of them. But yeah, so next week we'll have Michael on here. I want to do this first one by myself because we are deciding that we're going to air our shows Tuesdays, the full episodes, 7 a.m. And then on Mondays we're going to do Q&As, something that we can record together before we record the big show. But yeah, this was awesome. Thank you guys so much, especially to all the patrons. You guys are awesome. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow with episode 5 of the LoPriore podcast. Number 5. I love you guys. You guys are fantastic. And then, always give me your answers too in the comments, because I want to know what your answers would be to some of these questions. And also, patrons, in the $50 tier, if you're listening to this, we're going to try and call you tomorrow. So you better answer the fucking phone. I love you guys so much. I said that already, but peace. We will see you tomorrow with episode 5 of the LoPriore podcast. Suck my ass, as Michael would say with permission. I give you permission to suck my ass.